Hi everybody, I'm Jeff and this is Adventure Racing Insider. Today we'll be going over the mandatory gear list for the Maine Summer Adventure Race. Now, this is just a mandatory list. These are the things that you can be asked for out on the course, but by no means is an exhaustive list of what you should be or could be carrying out there for a 24-hour adventure race. So let's dive right into it. First on the list is a writing utensil. I have a whole number of these. These are pens, markers, highlighters, really just for marking up maps. Make sure I get the information on there that I want, and you can highlight your routes ahead of time. Very helpful for navigating when you're moving quickly. Next thing on the list is a working phone. Make sure that your phone works, but turn it off. What I do is I'll put it into one of these little dry bags, and then this bag in itself goes in another Ziploc, and this goes right at the bottom of my pack, and I don't see it until the end of the race. Again, it's really only for emergencies, true emergencies. So hopefully it just stays in this bag and you don't have to use it. So let's talk about a first aid kit. First aid kit doesn't have required items for the Maine Summer Adventure Race, but there are some recommended items, including various bandages. I have some regular of these adhesive bandages for small nicks and cuts, gauze rolls for going around arms and legs, which are great. I've got some more heavy-duty butterfly sutures that stick on if you need to close a wound that's a little bit more gnarly. We've also got some barrier balm from Squirt, which is a great anti-chafing lube. Good to re-up on that, especially maybe after you've been in the water or in the rain. PR lotion, which is a transdermal electrolyte that you can use to help stop cramping right on the skin. We also keep a few of these here. These are salt tablets. These can help you get your electrolyte balance back to normal, or at least close to normal, in a hurry if you notice that you're getting dehydrated. We've also got a little vial of anti-sting medication, and then a little container here with ibuprofen and Benadryl. I'll also keep my foil rescue blanket in my first aid kit as well, although that is specified elsewhere on the list. I'll just chuck it in the first aid kit. Now, the first aid kit can be contained in whatever you want. A lot of people go ultra light with that. They will go with just a regular Ziploc bag, which will contain all of the required items, no problem. If you have some more items, a small dry bag is perfect for that. I like to just chuck everything in here, roll it up, and then hope I never have to use it. The next item on the list is water purification. That's going to be super important because while there is water out on the course, it can be far between where you might see potable water stops and you'll have to filter your own. I use a Catadine Be Free. This is a 2-part filter. It's just an ultra flask here. It's a 1-liter ultra flask with a filter and a little drinking top there. All you have to do for this is dunk it in whatever water source you're planning to filter, pop on the top, and then you can spray this, squirt this back into a larger container like a Camelback, or you can just drink from it. Someone on the team, of course, is going to need a compass. You can't use a GPS, you can't use a phone to navigate. It's only map and compass, so someone is going to need to be in charge of that. I carry at least 1 compass, if not 2, for myself, and we usually have other folks on the team will carry backups as well. I use either a CanPass or this one, which is the Moss Compass Model 3 that we got from Mark Latanzi's navigation store. Very helpful, and a quick setting compass, easy to use. It's been pretty reliable for me. The last thing that you need for your team is a bike repair kit. That goes in this bag for me. It goes right under my saddle. It contains a multi-tool, a puncture kit. We've also got a 20-gram CO2 cartridge and inflator. I have in here, just because I've learned the hard way, this is a derailleur hanger, a spare derail hanger if you need to replace that on the fly. I have some quick links here for my chain as well in case I break a chain. And then tire pump. This is just a little tire pump that lives on my frame, mounts to it, and it's really great for just pumping a couple puffs of air in when you need to refill after, say, a long technical section and you're back on the road. Individually, the first thing on the list is going to be a raincoat or a waterproof coat. This can really be anything, but I like to keep it nice and light. So this is a Columbia waterproof coat that packs down very, very small. This is another thing that if I really hope I don't have to use, but at night when it gets a little cool or if it starts raining, it's really great to have this thing. In addition to the filtration that you need on a team level, everybody also needs a means to carry 50 ounces of liquid. For me, that's a Camelback reservoir, goes right in my pack. 2 liters is 70 ounces, and I find that this is usually good enough to get me through most stages. I'll also bring an ultra flask and a couple of bike bottles as well to really supplement that, but at minimum, you'll need something like that. Because this is a 24-hour race, you will be in the dark, so you'll need a headlamp. I use the Petzl Core. It's a very light headlamp, and it crumples down, and you can just shove it in a pocket, and it will last all night. You're going to need something to carry all of this, and of course, there's a lot of opinions on what kind of pack you should be using or could be using in an adventure race, but I'll just tell you what I use. Right now, I'm very much into the Hyperlight Junction 3300. It's a very simplified pack. There's just one big potato sack container, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 external pouches, and that's it. You use stuffed sacks to manage and organize everything in there, and it is very light and very comfortable. I've worn it for shorter races and races up to about 36 hours, and it's extremely durable. So I really like it, but if you like having more pockets, Out There makes a great pack in the MS2 and MS3 that you can also check out. The last thing that you need individually is a whistle, and luckily that's going to be on my pack. So check your pack if you haven't already. On the Hyperlights, there's an orange buckle, and it's actually built in to that. So for the biking sections, you're gonna need a mountain bike. It must be a mountain bike, it can't be a gravel bike, and it cannot be a road bike. You're gonna be on some fairly gnarly terrain, and then even gnarlier terrain if you choose to get some of the more advanced points, but it will need to be a mountain bike. I ride a carbon hardtail, which is a nice and light, fast bike on the flats, but as you might know, there is a bit of a sacrifice when it comes to handling on more technical terrain. So depending on the course and what kind of terrain you ride, that might affect your decision on which bike to bring, which bike to ride. Of course, if we're riding a bike, we always need a bike helmet. You might be required to have a helmet for another stage, like a canyoneering stage, but it doesn't appear that way for the Maine Summer Adventure Race. So just while you're riding the bike, you'll need that helmet. You'll also need a flashing tail light. So that's going to be one of these, usually, that can mount to the back of your bike. You want to be seen on the road. And then a handlebar mounted front light. I use this system, which is 2. I can put them both on, and really lights out the path for me, or I can just put one on and use the other as a backup. It's also nice to be able to have a light that will mount to your headlamp or to your helmet as well. So if you have this one in here, something like this, where you can see not only when you turn your handlebars, but also when you turn your head. Very helpful to have something like that. So we've talked about the team gear and the individual mandatory gear and the bike gear. All we have left is the paddle gear. For the Maine Summer Adventure Race, like a lot of races, a boat is going to be provided for you. So you don't need to tow out your kayak for this race. There will be one for you. PFDs, aka life jackets, personal flotation devices, and paddles will also be provided by the race directors. That's usually the case. If you're going to get a boat, usually they provide those from the rental company as well. However, if you want to bring your own, no one is stopping you, and it's actually kind of encouraged. So I have my own PFD that I'll bring. It just has a ton of pockets for me to stash stuff in. I know where things are and it's comfortable. I also have here, this is a carbon 4-piece paddle. These are just 2 of the pieces. It's not an epic wing paddle, but it is a pretty light and very packable paddle that I got for a decent price. And it works pretty well for me. In addition to this, and this is not listed on the mandatory gear, at least anywhere that I can see, is a paddle bag. You're going to want a paddle bag. I have one here, and this is to put, especially if you are bringing your own gear, your own PFD and paddle, you'll want to bring a bag, something like this, that's going to hold all that gear. And you can put in PFDs, paddles, and then maybe a change of clothes, a couple of snacks, replenishment on your first aid kit, that kind of thing as well. But if you bring a big bag like this, the race directors will transport it to the paddle, so it'll be available to you before and after the paddle. So that's all the mandatory gear that you're going to need for the Maine Summer Adventure Race. It is by no means an exhaustive list of what you could bring out there on the course to make yourself faster or more comfortable, but it is what you'll need to finish the race. There is a list of recommended gear that I'll be going over in a different video, but this is the bare minimum that you'll need to complete the Maine Summer Adventure Race. If you're watching for the first time, thanks very much. My name is Jeff, and this is Adventure Racing Insider. We'll see you out there.